Peaches, it's Sharba, welcome back to my channel and thank you for clicking on another video. It's Monday, you know what that means. It's our weekly segment where we take a look at the subreddit AITA, because it's a little bit of juicy drama, because we can hopefully help some people out and expand our own mindsets along the way. If you're new here, you'll pick it up pretty quickly. If you're not, you know what time it is. Let's go fishing for some a-holes. Am I the asshole for not wanting to be loaning my boyfriend $2,000? That's a lot of money. It's an interesting question. I don't think we've ever explored finance, as in finance sharing in this way on this channel, and I know a lot of friends who do it dramatically differently from each other. Yeah, let's see. My boyfriend will not get a job. He said he won't be a slave to capitalism and his parents send him about $1,000 a month. Sounds, babe, like you have a scrub. He always says he has ADHD paralysis and just can't get a job or a therapist for that matter. Okay, so ADHD paralysis makes things a little trickier. Having said that, there is medication and absolutely therapy, so if you're not working on it, I'm like, ping ping, give me more details. I pay the rent and then I request him on Venmo. At one point he owed me 3 months of rent plus other expenses, so I set a boundary for our relationship. I don't want to be in a position where he owes me money. It makes me uncomfortable and I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. You know what, babe? That makes a lot of sense. Also, if he has a budget, 1k a month, I'm assuming the rent comes from that money. There shouldn't be a reason why he'd be in arrears for that length of time. You are perfectly entitled to feel some kind of way about not being paid for 3 months. Yesterday, I told him it wasn't okay that he owed me $2,000 because I'd set up that boundary and he agreed upon it. He absolutely blew up and started getting upset at me. He told me that he couldn't guarantee any income and that he'd never do this to me if I needed it, which felt super emotionally manipulative. We've just signed another 13-month lease together, so I started panicking. I'm still pretty nervous about this and pretty upset. This sounds tricky. The other thing that's making me feel some kind of way is that he's saying that there's no guaranteed income, but he does have guaranteed income if he's been given $1,000 a month, right? That is guaranteed income, and you'd think that rent would be priority for that. I too would be a little bit nervous at this stage, especially if you've both signed up to the commitment, and especially if you can't afford to take on the rent amount just yourself, because everybody knows that this world, unfairly so, is built for 2 people to live in, so things like bills are significantly harder to cover as one person. The reason that I think I could be the arsehole, says OP, is because he says he's actually completely unable to make money and I have money. And there is an edit here that says he's the most kind, loving and understanding person I've ever met in my life until it comes to money. Am I the arsehole? Ooh! No, I don't think you're the arsehole, my love. Look, I think this is pretty clear cut. I think that you have an income source and he also has an income source, which may not be from a job, but it's still something that's providing him the ability to live independently and to pay rent. And so you should not ever feel wrong for asking for something that he has equally and legally committed to covering. You know, in the form of a lease, you're both on the lease, you both pay the rent. I would also find it quite manipulative, to be honest, if somebody was saying to me, oh, but you know that I can't XYZ for something as basic as rent, seeing as he is able to pay rent and it's just this little bit that's in arrears. Unless he came to you and it was very different, perhaps rent's gone up, perhaps he has these other bills that are very important, like paying off outstanding debts, and he said to you, I'm really sorry, I'm unable to pay my full portion right now, and so you know what, can we work out a little payment plan? Maybe you can cover me a little bit for now and I'll start paying this much back to you. I don't know if that's a possibility, but if that's the case, I'm assuming that that's something he would have shared with you. Sounds to me like boyfriend just hasn't been very responsible and isn't wanting to take that responsibility and is feeling like there's some sort of power dynamic because you are the one that has a job and I'm assuming more money coming in, seeing as you're able to cover both of your rent so far, which is a boundary that I too would want to set if I was in OP's position. Not the asshole, your boyfriend doesn't want to be a slave to capitalism, but he's perfectly okay with you being one so he can mooch off of you. Somebody else says, I was diagnosed with ADHD in my 40s and up to that point I managed to keep a job, pay my bills and look after my kids. It was hard, but I did it because that's what you do when you're an adult with responsibilities. It's easier now with treatment, still not easy, but ADHD is not an excuse for expecting other people to take responsibility for you. I absolutely agree with this, and there are certainly moments where it can be incredibly difficult to function, but when those things happen, specifically if it's stopping you from being able to hold down a job or carry out any of the core duties that you need to, especially to the extent where you can't get a job this way, there's absolutely support out there, which means that you should be able to have financial means in other ways to be able to make up for it. I don't know the US system, but I'm assuming there's a benefit benefit system. As OP said, you are getting money from your parents as well, which I know is not like, I'm not here questioning that source of income. What I'm saying is that is a source of income that OP's partner can be using to pay the rent and isn't. So, like, that makes sense. Hang in there, OP. And also, to answer your other question, just because somebody is loving and kind in so many other ways, if they are doing one thing that is fundamentally wrong and that makes you feel really uneasy, doesn't mean they're a good partner. I'm not saying this is what's happening here. What I am saying is that abusers and victims of abusers often use this justification to be like, oh, but they're such wonderful people if they don't financially manipulate me, if they don't physically hurt me. I'm sure that the boogeyman is a very nice person when he's not terrorizing kids' dreams, but that doesn't make him an okay person overall, because that one act is a pretty big part of the equation. Just putting that out there for anyone who feels like that is a worthy justification. Maybe it's something that you want to think through. Alright, let's move on. Am I the asshole for taking my girlfriend's drinks out of the fridge to prove a point? This feels like the start of something very trivial that escalated. I'm feeling like a Malcolm in the Middle moment where all hell is broken loose, drinks are flying everywhere, girlfriend shouting, throwing a plate, the thing has paused, and we're going back to like 3 days later. Let's dive in. My girlfriend's a 20-year-old woman, and I am a 22-year-old man. We've recently moved into our first shared apartment together. Congratulations. Since this is the first time for both of us living on our own, my parents offered that they will pay for our fridge. My parents own a rather expensive fridge that has a built-in ice cube dispenser. For the lack of better suggestions from my girlfriend, I decided that I wanted the exact same fridge as my parents for our apartment. My girlfriend, however, was against it because in her opinion, extras like the ice cube dispenser are a waste of money and it would be rude to ask my parents to pay for it. It's a personal thing, right? I personally, for example, do not like ice cube dispensers in fridges, for me, because they take up so much space, and then if they're not like plumbed into the water supply, you have to like top them up. And I'm like, with the effort that I'm doing this, I might as well walk to the tap and just get cold water. But fair enough, if you want one of your girlfriend, doesn't this sounds like a perfect opportunity to use that C word, compromise? She said that we should go for something more modest and that she wouldn't use the ice cube dispenser anyway, and that if I want cold drinks, I should just put my drink in the fridge beforehand. She never said what kind of fridge she'd like though, and so in the end she dropped it and my parents bought us the expensive fridge when we moved in. Okay, so your parents got you a fridge with an ice cube dispenser. That's what I'm hearing. It's been a while now and I frequently use the ice cube dispenser, there we go, while she just keeps all of her drinks in the fridge and takes up lots of space. So yesterday, when I tried to fit in other groceries I bought, I took out all of her drinks so she would have to use the ice cube dispenser now if she wants a cold drink. When she found out, she called me a petty idiot and she hasn't been talking to me since. Am I the asshole? Yes, sir. You are the asshole. The reason that her drinks are taking up space is because your ice cube dispenser, good sir, is taking up the shelf space where the drinks would normally go. And so she's putting them elsewhere. Some people don't like ice cubes in their drink. Some people don't like the fact that it dilutes, or the sort of cleanliness, hygiene aspects that can sometimes be questionable with raw ice cubes, and therefore use a little plastic reusable ice cubes. There are so many different reasons apart from just space as to why somebody would not use an ice cube dispenser. You won the compromise. You have yours. Let your girlfriend have the drinks that she wants to have. That is silly to me. I don't understand where your logic is to be like, yep, I'm gonna get her drinks out of there and force her to use the ice cubes. This is also just very petty though. Like, I feel like I shouldn't really be having a say because it's such a small deal in a relationship. What do you think, my loves? Let's see what other people have to say. Huge, you are the asshole. You abused your parents' generosity, oh, harsh language, and then decided to be super petty and intentionally ruin her drinks so that she'd have to use ice. Okay, calm down. Unless the drinks were like milk and left out for a very long time. I doubt they're ruined. Drinks get watered down when ice is left in them, making them taste different. She's completely in the right to not want to use ice in her drinks if that is what she wants. I understand if you needed room in the fridge, but to take out every single drink for the sole purpose of being a makes you the a-hole. I am inclined to agree. As are 17.1 thousand people. And may I again remind you that the reason that you don't have space for the groceries is not her fault. It is jointly both of your faults, because where her drinks are, your blooming ice dispenser is. So, you know, you're both just taking up space in the fridge. Figure something else out. I think we have time for one more. Am I the asshole for refusing to apologise for being a golden child? What is a golden child? I think it's the child who's like does no wrong. The one that everybody loves, as in the parents, and that always gets their way even when they're blatantly doing something bad. It just somehow works out in their favour. I'm a 30-year-old woman, and when I was very young, I was the golden child. I was the rainbow baby. What is a rainbow baby? Why are there so many terms for kids that are so adorable? Rainbow baby. I've never heard that one before. Is it because you came out the womb gay and was like, Papa? I doubt it, but we'll see. Oh, it's a term for a baby that's born after the parents have a pregnancy loss. The name draws a symbol of the rainbow representing beauty after a dark time. That is so cute. And I'm very glad that I've now come across this term. Okay, now that we understand, we move. I was a rainbow baby to parents who were in their 40s and struggled to conceive for many years. I was also born on Christmas Day. And for the first full year of my life, I had medical problems. I spent my first week in an incubator, and several months later, I was re-hospitalized for weeks because of an infection and a severe allergic reaction to antibiotics. Woo! That is a very dramatic entrance to the world. All of this was very hard on my sister, who's 34, so 2 years older than you. She struggled during those years to get the attention that she needed, and my parents and family doted on me because I was everybody's miracle baby. She developed some serious behavioural issues because of it, which my parents tried to address. However, to me, the course correction was extreme. We stopped celebrating my birthday altogether when I was about 9 or 10 because it was too hard for my sister to share Christmas with my birthday. Oh, interesting parenting choice. From elementary school through to high school, my parents never attended soccer games or school plays. They even missed my high school award ceremony when I won 2 awards. The reasons were usually things like, your sister has a therapy appointment, or your sister isn't feeling well. When I graduated high school, everyone went out to my sister's favourite restaurant that I didn't like to celebrate that my sister was home for the occasion. And you were the golden child? One more example, when my sister graduated college, my whole family had a blowout party and my wealthy cousins paid off her student loans as a graduation gift. Oh my lord. When I graduated, no one attended the ceremony except for my mum and dad, and even though I graduated with dual majors, a 4.0 and 4 academic awards. I don't know what a 4.0 is, but that sounds very good. Yay you! Recently I was at a family gathering and the conversation came around to children. My sister has 4 kids, whereas I'm child-free. My brother-in-law, so your sister's husband, I imagine, made a comment about how hard it is for the older siblings to adjust to the new kids, and my sister got really teary-eyed and emotional. She talks about how traumatic it was for her that I was born on Christmas, and that she had to miss that milestone with her parents and spend it with her aunt instead, and how hard it was to be the forgotten child, and to have a sibling that was obviously the favourite and the golden child. My mum also got teary-eyed and apologised, saying that she was so sorry for how hard it was for her, etc. Then, my sister looked at me with this angry and disgusted look and said something like, I never expect the golden child to apologise for it. Drama. I honestly effing lost it. I yelled, hey, I appreciate the honesty, that my entire family has basically ignored my existence for my entire life and that I hated every single person in the room. Oh lord. Since my outburst, literally nobody is on my side. My parents think that I'm being insensitive to what my sister went through. I'm conflicted because it genuinely was difficult for her during the first few years, but am I supposed to pay for that for the rest of my life? Am I the asshole here? Oh, this is messy. I'm battling between 2 verdicts. I'm weighing up no assholes here and everybody sucks here. And I'm gonna say everybody sucks here. That is my verdict. Hear me out. Number 1, the parents suck. The parents suck big time because there is clearly not great parenting happening here. Here's the thing, both of you as kids have childhood trauma. The sad reality is most of the time parents do something to affect us negatively psychologically. It's just the way of life, but it means that we as kids grow from it, right? And then when we have kids, like I fully expect my kids to be better than me. Whilst I don't like the idea of imparting something bad on them, and I will obviously try my absolute best for that not to happen, sometimes it does happen, and what we need to be able to do is to listen and understand and digest and reflect and be kind going forward. I feel like what's missing here is that both of you have suffered. You, OP, clearly didn't have a great entrance into the world. It was very hard for you, and I can totally see how that also was therefore hard for your sister, but then it flipped and then became very hard for you when your sister became golden child as a result. Just like rights are not pie, trauma is not pie. Both of you, for different reasons that are in some ways interconnected, have had a very troubled upbringing, and both of you are allowed to feel upset by that. I feel like what really needs to happen here is a very honest conversation. Maybe this hasn't happened before, but your sister needs to get out all of the anger and resentment that she has towards you and realise that it wasn't your fault, that you were born with life-threatening issues that had to be dealt with. And you, lovely OP, also equally need to realise that it wasn't your sister's fault that your parents then decided to totally go the other way and neglect your needs for the other child in a very unhealthy way. Ultimately, your parents are the asshole here. Secondly, your sister's the asshole for not quite understanding that you didn't choose to be a baby with life problems, you know? And you are also the asshole. Though justifiably, I get it. You're allowed to be the asshole sometimes. People pop, people have moments and outbursts sometimes. But it wasn't right to then say that you hate everyone and not be very nice to your sister, because ultimately it's neither neither of your faults, but you are grown-ups now, and you can totally have that adult conversation right now and hug and make up and maybe go to a couple therapist sessions and have an even greater sibling bond because of it. That is my verdict. What do you think, Peaches? Not the asshole. And just FYI, your sister was clearly the golden child in your parents' eyes. She's the one that got special treatment and that they bent over backwards to accommodate whilst ignoring your existence. I definitely agree with that. I don't think that you were the golden child, OP. It seems like maybe you don't realise that that's the case. Perhaps because you've been made to feel so bad about being the golden child that you've genuinely believed it and you're not objectively able to see the situation to be like, well, hang on a minute, I have a right to feel upset too. With that in mind, I can totally see why somebody has also said not the asshole, and like, you are the smallest of assholes, especially compared to everyone else. But the reason that I said everybody sucks here is because that outburst to everyone saying like you hate everybody and your sister, like, that wasn't right, because it's not your sister's fault either. It's just family, right? Says someone else. I started laughing when they got teary-eyed because their sister was the forgotten child and she had the nerve to demand an apology from OP when OP was the actual forgotten one. I see totally where this comment is coming from, but it just makes me want to go, stop trying to be competitive with your trauma. You don't need to one-up each other with negative experiences. It's such an odd thing to me to be like, yeah, well, you know what, I was treated even worse. Where is the pride in that? Why are we trying to gloat about these things? You both had a tricky upbringing because your parents didn't know how to handle a situation and the dynamic between two siblings. You both suffered. Just hug and make up and be kind. Is that so hard? What do you think, my gorgeous little fuzzy peaches? Get your little butts downstairs and have a little chat with me in the comments about it. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'll catch you next time with another video. Be kind and have a great day. Bye.